What? Why are you shaking your head?
You're welcome.
I don't know what's more rare. The fact that Dynasty Points is going to try our hardest to do a hot takes episode and see how fast or how quickly Jacob can backpedal out of giving one, or the fact that the Toronto Maple Leafs have a chance to go up 2-0 in a series for the first time in forever. I don't know what's crazier, but we know one thing is guaranteed. We're going to have some hot takes that hopefully you haven't heard already. And as we try to come up with an idea for the show, it is so awkwardly timed that the draft is simply 2 days away. There's a chance when you're listening to this, some of the draft has already happened. So what is the goal today? The goal today is to entertain all of you and give some of our favorite draft happenings that we see this weekend. We, of course, have a landing spot combination thing that we're going to go over. We are rookie flag planting on a couple of players in destinations. We're making draft predictions / draft bets. Chat, obviously, as always, feel free. Let us know what you're betting, what you're doing. Like and subscribe if you haven't. And, of course, at the end of the day, on YouTube only, if you're listening via podcast, we have 5 for 5, where I once again continue to defend my title. Doesn't matter how much Lucas complains, the fact of the matter is I won. So you're going to want to be locked in to see what happens on this episode. Today we have Jacob Sanderson, that's at Jacob Sanderson, Ryan Heath at RyanJ_Heath, and as mentioned, Lucas Gilbert at LGilbertFF. Firing off for this episode. I am super excited, but before we kick the hard hitting analysis off, I'm doing a rookie draft right now, pre NFL draft, rookie draft, the second one that I'm doing, and it's made me realize something. Have you ever noticed that the moment you get into a startup or the moment you start a rookie draft, somebody has a insane life crisis? Somebody that somebody knows needs to go to the hospital and they won't be back to pick in a while. In this case, like we had one dude that has been fighting for his life with the flu, and then another player had something happen where they're someone they love had to go to the hospital. And only when a draft starts do these things come up. I'm telling you. So just know that when you are about to plan for a draft, just know at least one Final Destination style is going to have a life-altering event during that draft. Because it happens every time. Every time. Dog's sick. My wife fell down. I fell down. I got laid off today. There's just every draft. So I saw it happen again today. It's like, this has to be an anomaly. This is some Final Destination ass shit, because I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. All right, now that I got that out of the way, I'm telling you, I'm going to note every single time it happens this year, I'm writing it down and the date. I'm doing the research. See, even Big Diaz knows. He knows. What's up, everyone in the chat? Well, let's fire it off to the first thing that we wanted to talk about, which is landing spots. We've obviously had other people on the podcast. We've talked landing spots, where we want to see players go. These are going to be our favorites. I loved this topic. Ryan, you came up with it. Your first rookie and landing spot combination.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. So my first one is, it's not galaxy brain in terms of like NFL fit. Honestly, it's very kind of obvious to say, oh, the fastest running back in the draft should go to the San Francisco 49ers. Like that just always seems like a very easy take. But I think really what's like slightly different about this to me is I don't think it will be seen as like a quote unquote good landing spot by like the dynasty community. just because Christian McCaffrey is there. Obviously, we got the report today that he has no limitations with his health right now. So you can feel good if Christian McCaffrey's on your dynasty roster. He's ready to suit up for week 1 for you right now. To talk about the actual fit, to talk about Bhayshul Tuten to the 49ers as my favorite landing spot. Yeah, Tuten, 4th best Spork composite athleticism score of any running back since 2000, behind only Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Stewart, AJ Dillon. Just insanely explosive. You see it on tape too. I don't think I've heard anybody say, Tuten. I feel like a lot of the time with these running backs, especially the ones that run really fast, you get at least some film people saying, he ran really fast in shorts, but I didn't really see it on the field. Basically, everyone I've listened to has said, I see it on the field with Bhayshul Tuten. So it gets me excited. I see it on the field. All of the advanced metrics are amazing. If we get Tuten as a round 3 pick, a late day 2 to early day 3 pick to the 49ers, I'm just going to click them in the early 3rd, late 2nd of every rookie draft probably, because I don't think, just because the immediate production potential isn't there, I don't think people will go insane on him in terms of rookie ADP. But that is I don't know, that's almost a guarantee that he's going to be scoring RB1 level weeks for you at some point over the next couple of years. So yeah, I'll be really, really happy if it works out like that.
I just wonder if a landing spot like that is going to change kind of where he's going already. I mean, he's going, according to the Dynasty Data Lab to date, RB10 at the 301. So San Fran, I mean, good night, sweet prince in Garendo, but hard not to love the spot. That would be, at least I got the 2 games, Isaac. That would be, thank you. Jacob, who do you got?
Yeah, so this is the one that I'll just be honest, I don't think this is actually going to happen. But it's gotten a lot of buzz today that either, the Jaguars, the consensus has largely been they were going to take Mason Graham or maybe an O-lineman, maybe an edge rusher. But all of a sudden, we've gotten reports now from a few sources that they're going to go skill player. And the favorite now to be picked 5th overall is Ashton Jeanty. But the other guy who's been floated as a potential 5th overall pick now is Tetairoa McMillan. And that, to me, would be the absolute ideal spot for McMillan. My concern with him, and it's not a massive concern, but my concern is that I think he's this big, hulking wide receiver who I think on your first look, you'll be like, I want to put this guy at X wide receiver, let him line up, be a big downfield Mike Evans type. And I think he can do some of that stuff, but I think where he thrives more, or at least where he might have to thrive more, is in the intermediate and being a guy that can move inside and outside into the slot. And you look at the fit with Jacksonville, you get to play with a Brian Thomas, is the premier ready-made X wide receiver. And you get to do it with a pocket quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. To me, that's the spot where I would have no more concerns about him getting used incorrectly, because I think they can mix and match him and Thomas and figure something out, with Thomas being able to take on those harder assignments. That got me really, really excited when I saw that rumor today. I don't think it's going to happen. I still think his ceiling is more likely to be 12 at Dallas, but you never know. And I got really excited about the possibility of him at Jacksonville.
I mean, 12 at Dallas isn't too bad. It's just too bad in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
He doesn't have their actual wide receiver maker, Mac Jones, throwing him the football. And he unfortunately does have to go back to Trevor Lawrence. So we're pouring one out for Brian Thomas Jr. in that regard, but hopefully maybe with 2 wide receivers, Trevor Lawrence won't have that many excuses left in the tank. Lucas, we're just going to tell you, you copped out on yours. I know that you know, but I see your first one here. It's a little bit of a cop-out. Chat, you decide. What do you have for your favorite spot?
So, not to be too much of a homer, but at this same exact time last season, I was talking about how the Broncos have let me down over and over and over again since they won the Super Bowl. I know, big boo-hoo, they've won a Super Bowl, and a lot of other teams are still struggling. But, I'm going to complain a little bit. And now going into this season, looking at who the Broncos are going to potentially be drafting in round 1, every sign right now is pointing to them doing an offensive skill position day 1 or day 2. But one of their first 2 picks going there. So whoever they're drafting there, whoever they're committing to there, that's what I'm getting most excited about. And I couldn't limit myself on a single player. I think if Tet McMillan were to fall to 20, that's the dream scenario there. I think that he could pair really well with Courtland Sutton. He could play inside and be a big slot for a while. He could develop into that role, and it would give the Broncos a lot of options whenever Sutton's contract's up at the end of the season. It could really set McMillan up to be a wide receiver 1 in year 2 as well. Just like let him grow into the NFL. He still has a lot of things he needs to work on. And I think he's going to be a fantastic complement. I don't want him to come in and be an alpha wide receiver immediately. But then we start looking at any of the running backs there, and all of them, I think people are going to get really excited about because Sean Payton wants a running back by committee. They're going to immediately have a lot of value. He's supported multiple fantasy relevant running backs in the past. So that also gets people really excited. So as long as the Broncos do not draft like a Luther Burden or Matthew Golden in round 1, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be really excited. I'll be a little bummed if they have to draft Travion Henderson in round 1, even though that'll be signaling that that's their guy and I'll eventually get over it. I would love for them to be able to do that in round 2 if that's really the path that they want to go down. But I think that with that offense on the rise right now, we have the mastermind Sean Payton there. We have Bo Nix to support, and I don't think he runs enough to take away from the running backs. He runs enough to add a little bit extra dimension onto wide receivers. Like, he has a very well-rounded game in terms of supporting fantasy assets. So I'm pretty excited about where they're going to go on night 1, then also rolling into night 2 of the NFL draft.
So I just went and checked because I was curious now because you're super hyped up for this. The most recent mock drafts from the mock draft database is Egbuka, Golden, Kenneth Grant, Trevion, Egbuka, Henderson. Like it's looking pretty good that's gonna be the case. So yeah, hard not to be excited with that.
Can I just ask quickly, Lucas? Just because I assume you have a better finger on the pulse than I do with the Broncos. I know earlier in the offseason there was a quote that got passed around a lot of Peyton saying basically, I really love all our wide receivers, and I don't think we need another one. Like, we want a tight end and a running back. Do you put any stock in that at this point? This was probably at the combine or even before that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just curious for my Courtland Sutton, the buy Courtland Sutton takes that I'm going to be firing off regardless of what happens. I'm just curious how I need to structure those.
So I think that the Broncos aren't going to be reaching on a wide receiver at any point in time. I think that they're going to add one because the other sort of thing that's being passed around, at least by Broncos beat reporters, is that the priority is to surround Bo Nix with as much talent as they possibly can. And if they're going to do that through a tight end and running back position, that's awesome. But I think a lot of people are taking that to mean that it could potentially be a wide receiver, which is why I don't see them doing Egbuka in the first round, potentially. I'm not seeing that. I don't really see Matthew Golden, although they've brought him in several times. They've brought Luther Burden in. I don't even know how many times, but they've talked to him every chance that they have been able to get. I'm really looking at non-redundant skills in that wide receiver room. They have a lot of specialty type wide receivers. I don't want a Burden or a Golden, because as much as it's fun to make easy to make fun of Mims and the role that he has, I just don't want somebody encroaching on that. They were actually using him the way they were supposed to by the end of the season, and I'm wanting to continue to see that. So I think really the only wide receiver that they would jump at in the first round would be a Tet McMillan type.
Yeah, we could see. I mean, Trey Harris, round 3, Denver, right? Why not?
Yeah, I think all that's possible. I'll note that Benjamin Albright, who's usually pretty plugged in on Denver things, has been very adamant that they will not take a wide receiver in round 1. and currently has a standing bet with Ian Rappaport on whether they will take a wide receiver in round 1 for a steak dinner. So
I think more likely Hampton. I think it's more likely running back.
Yeah.
Albright seems to he's like what I do appreciate is he seems to be more willing to throw his takes out there than a lot of beat reporters do. And he was pretty clear that he seemed to think Hampton is a top name on their board, if not the top name. And it was posed to him, what would they do if Hampton's not there? And 2 options he cited were Trevion Henderson and then Derek Harmon, the defensive tackle.
Yeah, I think that defensive line is really like the dark horse in the first round. If they do that, I'm not going to be upset because I think that that's really going to signal that a lot of the rest of the draft is going to be them prioritizing skill positions. But there's a bunch of contract stuff going into 2026 with their defensive line, so that wouldn't surprise me. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I think that the Broncos are making some sort of trade in the first round, whether it's up or down. Everything that they're like we're seeing is that they're going to make a move. But that was also the thought last year. And then, after a draft, they were going out like, oh, can you believe that we just fooled the Vikings so good, man? Oh, that was so great. So I don't know what's going to happen.
I'll say this. The idea that they're making a move has gotten me. I've been on Hampton to Broncos for a long time. I'm not off of that, but that this talk of them making a move has me a little bit less convicted on the Hampton aspect, but not pulled away from the running back aspect. To me, this says like either or maybe even both of we're looking to make a big move up for Jeanty, or we actually like Henderson as much as or more than Hampton, and so we're going to move back and take Henderson, who we think we can get a little bit later. Because to me, if you're sold on Hampton, they're kind of in the perfect place. They're 1 pick ahead of the Pittsburgh Steelers, so I think they're 2 picks ahead of the Chargers. Both those are 2 other teams you could see taking Hampton. They basically would just have to dodge Dallas, assuming that Jeanty goes at 6 or 10, and then they're home free, I think. So the idea that they want to move to me doesn't totally square with them liking Amarian Hampton, because I feel like they're kind of already in the perfect place to take Amarian Hampton.
Yeah, we were talking before, and the fact that there hasn't been any significant trades happen already is like unheard of. So something's coming. Just don't know what yet. I'll say mine is Tyler Shough going to Cleveland, and I have it at pick number 67.
I'm so sick of Tyler Shough.
I
want this guy to be deleted from my life. Even though I've drafted him in every rookie draft.
Exactly. Every pundit, every draft person that I don't know, all I hear is that he can play in a pro system and experience. Everyone loves him. If I had to pick a spot, I think it's Cleveland. Right? The system they run, read the field, be accurate, mobile enough. It's kind of a hand-holdy type system. Get him in the 3rd round. In terms of a fit for him, a chance to play.
The UFL.
Weapons around him. Easy there, Jake Tribby. And an opportunity because they have Kenny Pickett. I don't know. I think it's a good spot. I don't have many of these rookie spots that haven't already been talked about 100 times. So I tried to go a little bit outside. I just think Cleveland has to do something at quarterback. I don't think it's going to be where they're picking in round 1. Don't think they would do it in round 2. Unless Milroe's actually their guy and they're willing to have a project quarterback with that team. I don't think so. Round 3, I think it's their 2nd pick in round 3, or it's their 2nd or 1st pick in round 3. I can't remember, but they got 2, which is an opportunity to take a shot at that spot.
Well,
I don't know.
I think it's this quickly about Shough. I mean, I think that like Shough as a prospect is like preposterous. He played. I mean, we were talking about Tyler Shough when Billy was still on this show because he was playing at Texas Tech when Billy was attending Texas Tech.
There was the one where Jawan Johnson was lined up at X with him on the field his first year of college. Yeah.
So like I find the whole thing like just deeply upsetting that
It is upsetting.
like Tyler Shough is in our lives that we have to talk about him. That being said, if you happen to be, I know some rookie drafts started this weekend, some that I'm in. So if you're coming around the bend and like round 3 of your rookie draft, round 4 of your rookie draft are taking place before the NFL draft kicks off, especially before Friday, make sure you snag some Tyler Shough, because I cannot promise you that I'm going to like the cost to acquire him if he actually does become a top 40 pick. But there are so many people that are saying he's going to go not just day 2, but like top half of round 2. The Charles Robinson Yahoo article came out today and said his belief was that the consensus board, and he said, every team has different guys ordered differently, but that in his view, the consensus ranking of quarterbacks was 1 Ward, 2 Sanders, 3 Shough, 4 Dart, 5 Milroe. So like, if this actually happens and Tyler Shough is like in the same tier as Sanders and Dart and potentially ahead of Milroe in actual ADP, then like, unfortunately, he should be a second round dynasty pick. So you can't get a better possibility for closing line value on the board than Tyler Shough. And hopefully he goes like round 5. We never have to talk about it again, but it's a free bet on a potential top 40 pick quarterback.
And that's kind of what I was thinking when I did this. I tried to do this exercise in terms of how iffy a lot of my quarterback situations tend to be, and how on the edge I play that part of the game. And late thirds, something like that, early 4. I know I saw it too, Jacob. For someone like him is worth a shot enough, especially if, let's say, in a perfect world, Hunter's playing wide receiver, Jerry Jeudy's on the field, David Njoku, and say they draft a running back in like round 3 with the other pick. I say Kaleb Johnson. That offense, and you put him in there, I'm sorry, but that's enough to have me draft him in a super flex format in that 3rd and 4th round. It just is. I think it's a good fit.
Tyler Shough is older than me. Tyler Shough is older than me by 2 months. I just learned this. Sorry. I just popped into my head. I think he's probably the last ever draft prospect that will be older than me.
He played 7 or parts of 7 college seasons. He surpassed 2,000 passing yards once. It is an insane profile. But anyway, we lost Tom, it looks like. So we talked about several landing spots. I think, did everybody give 2, or I think we only gave 1 each?
We only gave 1. So we're back around for Ryan Heath's 2nd.
All right, let's go a little quicker on the second one. We've got a bunch of questions to get to.
Yeah, I'll be super quick on this one. So I was sitting down the other night trying to think, what's the one way that I could talk myself back into Harold Fannin after everything that we've heard about how that Max Toscano very kindly came on and explained to us about how he can't play in line. He doesn't have a place in the NFL. He has to be better than his team's slot receiver and his team's tight end, right? So there is literally one roster in the NFL that I think this qualifies in this way, and it is the New York Jets. For those unaware, Alan Lazard is still the projected slot receiver on the New York Jets right now. And he took a team-friendly deal, so he'll probably actually be on the roster and will probably actually be their starting slot receiver unless they draft somebody. So, yeah, Fannin to the Jets, like late day 2. Will I then probably draft him in a lot of rookie drafts? Yeah, honestly, that's like the only way that I can get back in. So I just dreamt that up the other night. Just wanted to share that with the people.
Yeah, I think that's a half decent spot. I'm gonna like the spot absolutely. I mean, Conklin's gone. I mean, all up from there. Jacob, you're up.
Yeah. My other one was Kaleb Johnson in Baltimore. It's my favorite spot for 2 reasons, or 3 reasons really. 1, just because I've been saying it for so long, I want to be right. 2, because it's going to depress the price of a player that I really want to draft. It's such a deep running back class, and I think if we get a running back like Johnson, but any of these guys in round 2, if you get a guy that goes like late round 2 or early round 3, but then goes in as a clear backup, even if that player is drafted higher, is considered a better prospect, I think there's so many other attractive options that he's going to get bypassed by guys that are drafted later who maybe you don't like as much in a vacuum. I think that guy's going to be an attractive buy from a long-term perspective. And then 3 is just that I think it would be an incredible fit. You know, everything about Johnson is you want him to have opportunities to create those big plays. You want to get him in the open field. You want to get him a running start. Well, being next to Lamar Jackson is going to do that. You know, he's going to have not quite the same effect, I'm sure, but there's similarities between the need for build-up speed, the ferocity in the open field, the ability to make those big plays, what we saw out of the 30-year-old big dog this season in Baltimore. So that's my favorite.
I like it. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later. We're gonna end up agreeing a little bit later. That was the spot I had for him, I think, quite a while ago, and I'm right there with you. I have no disagreement there at all, Lucas.
Yeah, so piggybacking off of what Jacob said during the very first go around with this, I think that a little bit more realistic landing spot to give Brian Thomas Jr. a partner in crime in Jacksonville is going to be Emeka Egbuka. I think that their skill sets will really complement each other. I think that he is an even better version of what Christian Kirk could do, and that's like underselling Emeka Egbuka a little bit. It's also going to really open up the passing game for Jacksonville even more. I think that that's just all the way around. It's going to make that offense more complete. It's going to, I think, increase the upside for every single person involved in it, except for, unfortunately, the running backs there. But hey, if they're scoring more points, getting more goal line opportunities, who knows? They might get a couple more touchdowns. But I think that that's just a really, really good match, and they're in need of additional pass catchers now.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
I saw your face though.
I can't.
You seem disgusted.
No, we're throwing shade at Christian Kirk here, who I can't.
I can't
let that happen.
I'm looking at it as more. I'm giving even more of a compliment to Emeka Egbuka instead of throwing shade at Christian Kirk.
I'll let it slide for now, just because we need time. We'll let it slide for now. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with my second favorite fit is Isaac TeSlaa. And I think he's your future slot receiver in Houston. Right? Big, fast. They need a slot guy. He can play inside, outside. It's not going to be round 1, 2, 3 type pick. Low-endish pick for the Houston Texans. Look, 6'4", 214, ran insanely well. 4.43, decent broad jump, decent vertical, decent 3-cone for a big guy. Can do a lot of good things. I don't know how fantasy relevant he's about to be, but we saw the slot with CJ Stroud be valuable 2 years in a row. Big, fast wide receiver drafted round 4. Opportunity, I'll take it. So I'm going to go Isaac TeSlaa for Houston.
I thought you were anti-Christian Kirk shade. What happened to that? You just went right into
exactly
Christian, indirect Christian Kirk shade.
That's why I said he can go inside and outside, and they need more help. So I like Christian Kirk, but inside and outside with opportunity in that offense. Remember, they had Diggs, Nico, and at the time, two-legged Tank Dell. Now Tank Dell's dead in terms of his career, and you have another big guy that can play inside and outside. I mean, if there's going to be an offense to bounce back, they're going to need another big play pass catcher. I think he can do that. Do I think he will do that? I don't know. But in terms of something that hopefully hasn't been said 100 other times before, I don't mind this as a fit for them much later in the draft. So there you go. I like that one.
Yeah,
all right.
I like it. He's like a 93rd percentile spork, I believe, TeSlaa. So just
he tested
crazy
insanely
athletic.
Well.
Yeah.
And cannot separate from a single defensive back.
Well,
Next Gen had him as like the number 1 scoring wide receiver, if you want to put that into any consideration at all. But I'm just saying, trying to be a little bit different. Say some names that not really said too often. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're playing some flags on some of these rookies, sit tight. You're not going to want to miss it. Always with the chirp. And when I try to do a little bit, something just a little bit different, that's fine. I get it. I understand. Sometimes you got to step up and take some shots. So obviously we're going to go, is this the time for hot takes on this program? Because we don't ever do it. We're going to try to here. We're going to start with Ryan. Who is your biggest dynasty flag plant? Plus, where do you think they're going to rank come October with this perfect landing spot? You have this listed as an exercise in imagination, which I love that.
That's right. Yeah, we're gonna do some imagining here. So my flag plant in terms of who the player is actually really easy. It's just the guy that universally all of the people I listen to and trust have been singing the praises of for weeks now. And it's RJ Harvey, guy that can come in, do it all, play on all three downs, explosive player, looks great to my stupid film eyes. All the stats look great. I'm into RJ Harvey in general. And I just doing a little bit of a thought exercise here, thinking about like the obvious best kind of generically best running back landing spots where there's a lot of opportunity available. It's the Cowboys or the Chiefs. So you can plug in your favorite there. Cowboys may be a little bit better for immediate opportunity. Chiefs probably a little bit better long-term being attached to Patrick Mahomes. But I think my hot take is if RJ Harvey goes on day 2 to either of those teams, by October, we are talking about him as a top 12 running back. And the reason for that is not just like, oh, I feel so convicted in the player and that he's going to immediately take over the backfield. It's really just a bigger point about the running back landscape in Dynasty right now. The RB10 on Dynasty Data Lab is James Cook, a guy that played less than 50% of his team snaps last year. Like, this is not a particularly difficult hierarchy to penetrate for a rookie that comes in and immediately produces in a good situation, right? And I wouldn't even think it was too early or that we're overreacting if Harvey comes in, scores as like a high-end RB2 for the first 3 to 4 weeks, and we're talking about him as a top 12 dynasty RB, right? Because you at least feel good about the rest of his rookie season of production. For a day 2 pick, you probably feel relatively safe for at least one off season. That's a top 12 dynasty running back, baby. You feel like you're going to have 2 years of production that you're right there. So yeah, that's my flag plant. That's my like landing spot hot take.
I love it. Company favorite, right? Company
Absolutely.
favorite. I love it. Cowboys or Chiefs, dynasty RB 12 by October feels perfect to me. Jacob, who do you got?
Yeah, so Ryan took my favorite running back, and then Lucas took my favorite wide receiver. So I had to go down to the tight end position. And I'm doing the cop-out this time. So Colston Loveland is my dynasty tight end 1.
I knew it.
Quite solidly. My rookie tight end 1.
I was going to say, whoa.
Brock Bowers still exists. But my biggest fear is I'm very conflicted on this because I'm going to have a ton of Colston Loveland. I've already been drafting him everywhere I can in pre-draft.
Oh, no.
Draft. And then I'm also a Colts fan. And I'm very conflicted about this in that I do want the Colts to take good players. And I feel very convicted that Colston Loveland's a good player. So I love the idea of the Colts drafting him. But I really hate what it's going to do to his at least year 1 fantasy value. And I think it's going to happen because the one thing I'm sure about with the Colts, or at least as close to sure as I can get, is that if Tyler Warren is available at 14, he will be an Indianapolis Colt. I just think he's going to go to either the Jets at 7, Saints at 9, or the Bears at 10. And if he's gone, and then Kelvin Banks, I think, is likely to be gone, then I think the Colts are either looking at a couple of guard prospects or they're looking at Colston Loveland. And I'm just going to say that if that does not manifest and he goes anywhere but the Colts, I'll take the other 31 NFL teams. I think he'll be a top 3 dynasty tight end by October. In terms of a guy that comes in as polished and as productive, at least on a team market share basis, as Loveland, combining that with the ability to actually play wide tight end in line, I think you're looking at a pretty rare prospect. And one who I think is kind of undervalued based on a lot of the hype around Warren's production last year in an offense that was able to throw the ball and a team that was much better. And then also, I think, getting overshadowed by Bowers in this class.
As Kevin is now putting it, and something I want to have happen now to use this, Colston Loveland seems like destiny. That's fantastic. I love the pick. Dynasty tight end 3 anywhere but the Colts is pretty iconic. Lucas?
So yeah, for my guy, I really don't have like a perfect landing spot. I think he is arguably the most scheme-proof wide receiver in this class. I think that he can go into any situation and be successful. And that's Mr. Jack Bech. At this point, like looking at what he did during his freshman season at LSU, whenever he was outpacing all of these future NFLers in both yards and receptions there. Really banged up, and then also with the coaching change in year 2. Year 3, he still hurt, or he hurt himself during training camp, I believe, at TCU, and then was slowly being brought back in and then just absolutely dominated. And so he really only has like 1 full year of playing wide receiver in which we actually get to see it. And he was awesome. I think that he can play all over the field. He's not overly athletic. Like, he's just so smooth, so fluid. And at this point, I'm just repeating what any article has on him or any scouting profile has on him. But I think that if he can come into a situation where there's a clear opportunity to be a wide receiver 2 in the offense, I think that people are going to start looking at him and they're going to start seeing shades of like the Cooper Kupp type thing, and people are going to get all excited. And while I think he's really good, I think that that's also going to start bumping his costs up, and he's going to be a top 30 wide receiver by the end of the season. Right now on Dynasty Data Lab, he is wide receiver 67, I believe. So he has a long way to go to that, but I think that by the end of the season, people are really going to be talking themselves into what he has moving forward and what the role is that he's establishing.
He's moving up in the mock draft database. Like, his trending is it's been moving up. So 4th round seems to kind of be where people are at. I love the pick. I just drafted him at the 3-2 in a rookie draft that I'm doing and made that pick pretty quickly when I saw him. So definitely a safe bet. I'm trying to think of a landing spot for him. You said Kupp, and of course my brain immediately goes.
I mean, it's
Rams.
any of the teams that use an F wide receiver. That could be the Rams. That could be the Vikings. That could be. I think he could potentially fit in Cincinnati. I mean, there's all sorts of teams. There's 10 plus teams, but any of these teams. The Jaguars would be a fantastic fit.
Sounds like the New England Patriots should be calling as well. Seems like he would.
Well,
be
McDaniels historically uses a very different style of slot, so I don't love that fit.
That's actually true. Sometimes I forget that he's not only back in the NFL, but somehow back calling plays in New England. It still doesn't feel real to me, but
we started the offseason with Josh McDaniels talk, and I don't know how we're still on McDaniels talk. Like, it's a flat circle for me. I can't escape this.
It was one time, Ryan. I mentioned it one time since. I'm sorry. Don't leave the show.
You ruined my mental peace. I hadn't thought about that at all.
I'm so sorry. That's my fault. I'm so sorry. I think my quote hot take isn't gonna. You're right. When we wrote these down, they felt more like actual hot takes than they are just leading up to this. But I've been on the Milroe thing for quite a while now, and I'm going back to it. Jalen Milroe with round 2 or 3 draft capital his ADP is going to be higher than Tua's by week 1. By week 1, he'll start getting drafted over Tua. Tua currently being drafted QB 25, whereas Milroe is being drafted, I believe, I'm looking for him right now at QB 30. Oh my goodness, where'd he go? I'm so sorry. I had it up and now I cannot find it anymore. My fault. Give me 1 second, everybody. But anyway, I think he's going to be ahead of Tua in a top 24 territory by week 1. No matter what. Second or third round draft capital. I mean, any higher, and it's obviously automatic. Milroe, QB 30. I did have it right. At the end of round 10, Tua going QB 25. So all he has to do is beat Justin Fields at the end of round 7. This is why I've been hammering. Just draft him in round 2 of all your rookie drafts. Get him at those rounds in your startup. I don't care if you think he's a bad passer. I don't care if you think that he's a bad processor. I just don't care. Second and third round, a chance to play. He's going to pass someone like Tua. Tua's upside, we've seen it. He led the league in passing, and he was almost unplayable. We've seen the upside now, and that offense isn't what it was. So give me Milroe, man. I honestly think he's going to be top 24 by week 1, let alone when you actually get to see him play.
Yeah, so I don't take issue with the click Milroe take. That seems reasonable, advisable even. I'm down with that. I'm just confused how he's going to, like, before week 1, how is he passing Tua? So for that to happen, he has to be like all but declared the week 1 starter.
Yep.
He's not going to be a week 1 starter anymore.
Yeah, the vibes on him, everything I've read is there are definitely teams that like him. I think ideally most people see him as like you sit him for a year. They also say this about like every quarterback that enters the NFL that's not like a top 3 blue chip talent. But the thought is like, oh, he needs to sit for a year and he needs to develop. So like, where is he getting drafted in round 2, I guess, that you see him being declared a week 1 starter for this thing to happen?
All he has to do to gain like substantial value is play. And
how is he going to play?
Going to, well, there's an NFL preseason, Jacob. And I don't know if you know this or not, but people that watch the NFL preseason and see a player, one electric run can absolutely vault any news up or any player's value up. And again, he gets an opportunity to play. Like Lucas, you were telling me that I know I put everyone's least favorite old man in Cleveland, but you mentioned Cleveland has ties to him. I'm sorry, Kenny Pickett's not holding that job for a long period of time. If he's a round 2 pick to Cleveland, Flacco sucks, Jacob. You've seen it doesn't matter. He's terrible.
Milroe sucks.
You can't. That's why I said I don't care if you think he sucks or not. Like I just don't care about that.
I agree that if Milroe gets drafted by the Browns, he will start at some point this season. I don't think it would be week 1, but I think he would start.
I think
I do want to remind us that we got to watch Jacoby Brissett start for 4 or 5 weeks over Drake May this past year.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. What I'm saying is the fantasy community doesn't even need to see him be a week. If he see him play in the preseason and he does anything that invokes you can't get rid of Tua off your super flex rosters, and nobody ever wants to click him. Like he's not
his value, by the way,
valuable.
Is stupid. Like Tua, this whole thing, I don't even disagree with the buying Milroe, but this whole thing just makes me want to go buy Tua. Like he's currently behind Bryce Young
and Justin Fields.
Why? Yeah, he's behind Justin. That doesn't make any sense. He's behind.
He's nobody's favorite.
He's behind Shadur Sanders. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like I feel like all we're doing with Shadur Sanders is hoping that he's Tua. This is a weird. Yeah. I mean,
but
God knows I'm not like some Tua fan, but his price makes no sense to me.
That's what I'm saying at QB 25, though, right? That is a spot where I feel like a rookie with insane rushing up. That feels like a spot where they get pushed up, and it's a hot take show. So that's what I'm doing. That's why I'm making it. That's the point. Jeez Louise. But seriously, Tua at QB 25, nobody wants him. Honestly. you probably could go trade for him for a couple of twos to a lot of people. I've even seen the most hardcore, just die hard, the Tua versus Herbert debate people, right? Say, we got to move on from Tua. We can't win with him. It's just at Dynasty quarterback 25, it's not going to take much to get there. It's really not. Even round 1 draft capital without seeing anything is going to boost him from QB 30 all the way up there. Now, I don't think he's going to go in round 1. I've never said that, but he could. We don't know. We don't know. So there you go. I think he's going to be ahead of Tua, at least sitting at quarterback 25, unless Jacob somehow single-handedly bumps to his ADP up in his next Thinking About Thinking article. But I think there's a serious chance he's not even going to have to do much to get up there if he shows anything, let alone beyond week 1. He gets on the field, that value's going up.
I just remember that the community thinks Mike McDaniel is like a terrible play caller now. I just remember that's really like weird consensus opinion. Yeah. When it was the opposite a year ago, and then we watched one year where the entire team fell apart and he had no offensive line personnel.
It also didn't,
and he still really kind of made it work.
The offense was fine. If Tua didn't get hurt, they would have easily made the playoffs. Their defense was really bad. The whole offseason, I've been doing this on various shows whenever Dolphins come up. I'm out on Tyreek Hill because he's an old wide receiver who showed,
I think he's getting traded,
substantial decline, and he might not be on the team, and he might be in jail, and I don't know what's going on with that. But the rest of these Dolphins, like, I don't understand the problem. I'm buying them all. Everybody, when you bring up any Dolphin, they're just like, ew, gross. But it's like, I kind of get, because they feel stale. But like, the offense was totally fine over the second half of last season. It was fine in a weird way, and that they had to compensate for battle line play, so they were funneling everything to Achane and Jonnu and not to Hill and Waddle. But like, I don't know. To me, it's still McDaniel, it's still Tua, it's still Achane, it's still Waddle, it's still maybe Hill, it's Jonnu is fun. Like, I'm going to be above market on all these Dolphins except for Hill.
Yeah. And he still made it work, like, in a very unorthodox way to like how most offenses run. I don't know. I find that kind of think anyone's estimation. Me too. Yeah. I don't think anyone's estimation of McDaniel or the Dolphins should have gone down after last year.
I didn't know this was going to turn into a Tua love fest, but there you have it. Jacob Sanderson and Ryan Heath, pro Tua QB1. You've heard it here first. Just have at it. Not me, though. Not me. This is a guy led the league in passing and just, again, not very playable during that run, except for obviously some blow-up games, which is fine. But I think fast, hyper-athletic quarterback with good draft capital passes him. I think the community will just do it no matter what. For sure. Again, unless Jacob bumps that ADP right up. That being said, that's our hot take portion of the program. Apparently, I'm the only one out here making waves. We ended up talking about Tua as a side here because of the spiciness of the take. Who would have thought on this program? That being said, we're going to go with some bets that we're going to make. A little bit predictions, a little bold, a little out there. Then I think we're going to answer some of your questions and dial back in. Sit tight. You're not going to want to go anywhere. Okay, Ryan, you ran into a problem with this one. When you wrote this one down, it was not like a consensus thing, but like you said, it's now becoming one. So obviously we're going to go a little bit of making draft bets. Chat, let us know what your lock is. Hence why on the screen it says, what's your lock? Let us know. We'll talk about it. But Ryan, fire one off first here.
Yeah, so I'll just tell the story. So I started writing the show sheet on like Monday morning. But also went on another show Monday. So I like first thing Monday morning, I'm sitting down, grinding like draft content, reading all the rumors, just looking at all the odds. And what I ultimately landed on, like 10 a.m. Eastern time Monday, is okay. I think the most likely trade, like surprise in the first round, is a team trading up ahead of the Raiders, either to pick 4 with the Patriots or pick 5 with the Jaguars in order to draft Ashton Jeanty. Because in a class like this one, where there is just very little consensus around all the top prospects at most of the positions, really with the only exceptions of Carter, Hunter, and Jeanty, I just wouldn't be shocked to see an NFL team make a move like that, right? Even if it's the Bears like moving up a handful of spots, the Broncos we talked about earlier maybe making a big splash. Like I could see both the Patriots and the Jaguars being willing trade partners. So my original take was, bet Jeanty to go 4th overall or 5th overall. I got those odds at plus 250 for 5th and plus 800 for 4th.
Wow.
Currently, I believe he's the favorite to go 5th overall.
Yeah, exactly. Even money.
Yeah, with plus 150 or plus 200 or something like
plus
that.
100 as of right now.
Yeah. Okay,
So
cool.
directly even money as the clear favorite. Yeah, like the plurality favorite.
Yep. And that I believe he's second in odds now for the 4th overall pick. So I got great closing line value. I'm sorry, it doesn't help any of the listeners, obviously. I would not take it at the current prices. So that, sorry about that, I guess. So I feel like I have to give you an actual hot take. So I guess it can come in 2 parts. One, I still kind of don't think the Jaguars are going to do it. I think that all of the very sudden buzz around like we're going to draft an offensive skill position player is kind of trade bait. That's what it reads as to me. I don't know. James Gladstone seems like he's younger than me or whatever. Doesn't seem like the guy that's going to draft a running back in the top 5.
I don't know, man. So, you worked under less need. They took Gurley really early.
That is true.
Akers, took Corum. Loves running back.
I don't know. I feel like Gurley would have like scared you off of that, but I guess you're right. They only kind of slowly came down to doing it in day 2 after that.
I mean, Gurley extending Gurley didn't work out well. And like, I would obviously argue that like the draft pick was still not a good use of resources, but like they clearly got whatever they would have hoped to get out of him on his rookie deal. So I feel like drafting Gurley was like, if you apply, if I'm a person who would have ever thought drafting Gurley in the top 10 was acceptable, then I feel like you leave that experience thinking it was a good call and we just got unlucky on the extension.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
That's a good, that is a great way to put it.
Yeah. But I completely forgot my train of thought. Oh yeah. Jaguars, I don't think are taking, I don't think are the ones to take Jeanty. The hot take is that it's going to be a team trading up, but to give out like an actual bet that maybe I'll take. I don't know if this actually even makes sense as a hedge for my current positions, but I am kind of zeroed in on the number 4 slot because if I'm in the building at Foxborough, and to be very clear, I don't know anyone in the building in Foxborough. I don't have Patriot sources at all. I'm just a fan. I like to speculate about things. Will Campbell's been getting mocked to the Patriots for months. It's been just kind of everyone believing that the Pats are going to take Will Campbell at 4 for months. If I were Mike Vrabel and Elliott Wolf, and I wanted literally anybody, what I would do is exactly what they've done, which is completely play into everyone's perceptions that we're just going to take Will Campbell. Because why would you not? There's no advantage you gain from actually tipping your real plans. If everybody already thinks that you're after Will Campbell at 4, let them believe it. Go out and say that you view him as a tackle. You can even be kind of cryptic about it and say, yeah, we view him as a tackle. We're not concerned about the arm length. He's a great player, whatever. Armand Membu is at plus 1,700. Campbell is by no means like the consensus top tackle in this draft. I am cool with just clicking a plus 1,700 Armand Membu at number 4 overall. So that, take that or leave that, but that's like my, oh my God, emergency. I don't have an actual bet to give out anymore because of the Jeanty stuff bet to give out.
Man of the people and Patriots insider Ryan Heath. Known Patriots insider Ryan Heath. Jacob, what do you got?
All right. partially this is influenced just by my evaluation of these quarterbacks, but I'll go Jaxson Dart is the second quarterback taken. That's plus 225 at Bet365, but you could definitely and should shop around and get whatever the best prop you want if you actually wanted to bet it. I think it's closer to 50-50. I think, and my read is that the Steelers and Saints prefer Dart over Sanders, and that the Browns and the Giants prefer Sanders over Dart. And so I think the cleanest path for Dart to be QB2 is the Steelers, pick 21. I think if Hampton and Harmon are off the board, I think Dart goes there at pick 21 exactly. The other option is the Saints. And to me, some people say the Saints like Tyler Shough. I've also seen a lot of people say that the Saints like Jackson Dart. If they do like Jackson Dart and they just have to trade in front of the Giants or the Browns to accomplish that, if they feel that they might need to, I am willing to back the Saints of all teams as a team that's going to trade up and make moves. Like I totally buy that. So I think I get two chances to win that one. I think if you're hoping for Sanders, I think the Sanders path. Yeah.
I was waiting, Jacob.
Fucking go! Yes.
The 2-0 lead.
Did the Leafs score?
Damn right they did.
Damn, that's crazy, bro.
2-0 in the Battle of Ontario. Let's go. I was waiting. I sellied. I figured Jacob was delayed because he didn't stop talking. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I just put together what you guys were talking about 20 minutes ago when Thomas was like, "Oh, Jacob, I saw that too." Now I'm realizing that you both have the game on in the background.
Absolutely, yeah.
We were trying to be professional the whole night and not just let it overwhelm us. But for non-Canadians, it's NHL playoff hockey season, and the Toronto Maple Leafs are up 2-0 in the series. Let's go, boys. Sorry to interrupt.
I'm
Carry
right back while Lucas and Tom give their bet.
Jacob is about to go Selly so hard. Either that or he celebrated so much he had a Shaq on TNT moment. Lucas, why don't you go?
Well, I have no earthly idea how I'll follow that, but so not looking at specifically from a specific bet, but depending on where you're looking, what type of props are available. Congratulations, Jacob. I originally had a lower number here, but then I got bullied. And so now I up my number. I'm going to have 10 running backs going in the first 2 days of the NFL draft. Ryan pointed out that the last time that there were double-digit running backs in the first 2 days, it was 2008.
That's right, the Darren McFadden draft.
So this would be a lot. And everybody's been talking about how good this class is. I'm hoping that it's not so good that they kind of hurt their draft stock as a whole because teams are looking at them saying, oh, well, there's so many talented ones. We'll just wait and draft one later on. But there's so absolutely many running backs that we can look at. I think that there's 6 almost locks right now to be going in the first 2 days. And honestly, there's about 12 running backs you can talk yourself into being at least a third round pick. So I think that there's a lot of runway here to have additional running backs in those top 3 rounds going in the first 2 days. So that's why I'm going with it.
To be fair, we did bully you into that only because it was just too safe. The people need hot takes on this show, and they knew Jacob was taking the easy way out. We couldn't let somebody else take the easy way out. I couldn't be the only one, Lucas, but I think 10 is 100%. I think 10 is 100% a reasonable hot take. If you're going to over under that at 9.5, right? I feel like that would be a really good line to play. I'd take the under.
Yeah,
but
I got to 8 really fast.
If I was trying to guess not doing a hot take, I think obviously the top 5. I think Samson is 80 to 90% likely to go round 3 or higher.
Yep.
And then
those were 6 I got really fast.
That's 6 easy. And then between Giddens and Scatterbo and Tuten and Harvey and Neal, maybe.
I was
Yeah,
thinking
you can
Martinez. That's the name I'm seeing the
Martinez,
most right
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So we would need all 4 of those to go plus a Martinez, and I think that's the best thing. And there's still so many running backs left on the board, which is the absolute crazy thing. And somebody might get really nuts. We might see a Jarquez Hunter, although I've been seeing him go in the 4th round in so many places right now. But yeah, it's such a good draft class. A lot of people are saying they're too solid and they're not spectacular enough, and that's going to make people disappointed in the end. It also might affect some of the draft stock here, but I just think there's so many good ones, and there's so many that can be playing in the NFL for a long time. So
not bad. I like it. I like the pick. I like the play. This one I've kind of said not together, but the next thing I'm going to say, I just want to, if it ends up happening, please don't blame me. Don't harass me. I'm not trying to speak this into existence. I think 2 fantasy favorite running backs are going to get ruined on day 2 of the NFL draft. And this is what I mean. The problem with having so many good running backs that we love for fantasy means that teams that don't necessarily need a running back are going to say, why don't we bolster that room a little bit with some of this talent that we don't got to pay a high price for? And there's 2 teams that rely on their running game a lot. And those 2 teams, if the starter went down, they would be in a lot of trouble. One team specifically, it has cost them. One of those teams being the Baltimore Ravens, like Jacob had mentioned. Look, we can love after this next year with Derrick Henry in Baltimore. They're going to extend him. They've already talked about extending him. They're working on extending him. That's going to be 3 years of starter Derrick Henry in that offense. Absolutely going to ruin a rookie running back's initial potential. You're really going to have to wait out an injury, Henry just retiring for no reason, or becoming awful in that system somehow. I don't see any of those things happening with what we know with Henry. So someone's going to draft to get Baltimore in the 2nd or 3rd round. We're going to really love them, and all of a sudden they get Thanos snapped into obscurity. The number 2 team is one that I believe even stronger than Baltimore, and that's Indianapolis.
Yeah, I can co-sign that as a Colts fan that's going to be a thing, and maybe not. Well, definitely not round 1, but round 3 or round 4.
Sorry, if I'm saying round 2, I'm saying it's
Trevion Henderson to the Colts round 2.
That's what I'm saying. That would be.
I think that's unlikely, but it's
Brian,
possible.
What's wrong with you, man? Oh my gosh!
I was trying to
Why are
pick the
you
thing that would
even
piss us
speaking
off the
that
most.
into existence?
That's the point of the segment,
Oh my
Lucas. Tom's giving a
gosh.
hot take about how the
I don't
running back
think
is
that's
going to be
so
ruined.
gross.
I was trying to think of the worst case scenario.
I think what Tom's saying is directionally accurate. Like, if you're trying to be super realistic, I think that it's going to be round 3 or round 4. I don't think it's going to be round 2, but I wouldn't completely cross off round 2. I think that they have guys they want to take in the 2nd round. I think it's Carson Schwessinger and Mason Taylor. And if they're both gone, or if they've taken tight end in round 1 and then they have different needs, and there's no O lineman they like in round 2, then you never know. But I think round 3 or round 4, you can earmark for a Colts running back. But Bhayshul Tuten, by the way, I mean, Chris Barrow likes the relative athletic score, so I'm just saying.
That's what I mean. There's going to be not just a running back drafted on day 2. Fantasy favorite RB1 upside running backs are getting nerfed. And it's going to be in Indy, and it's going to be in Baltimore. I can feel it. The problem with the draft being too good is, again, teams that just like talented players are just going to pick them and fill a need for them. They're now trotting Trey Sermon out in Indy, and I'm sorry, but Justice Hill ain't going to be the dude in Baltimore should Henry go down. They're going to bolster them. They're going to be decently high picks. I hate to say it. It's in my brain already. It's been in my brain since this process started. It's not coming out. So it's not just 2 running backs, 2 fantasy favorites. Imagine your favorite running back. If they wanted to play Keaton Mitchell, they would have played him last year when they had the opportunity, and they did everything they could to not play him. So I don't think he's the guy there, especially on like a 1A, 1B scenario if Henry goes down. He's just not that back for them. It's clear the way they use him. I liked Keaton Mitchell. Worst thing that could have happened to him was what happened to him. It's blowing his knee in half. They can't go into the season with him. They can't. The last spot on your bench is insulted. I understand. I get it. I'm a Baltimore guy here. All right. I get it. But that's it. That's the hot takes. Let's go through some of these chat, Jacob, because you mentioned that we had a ton of questions. So I will let you go through, pick your favorites from the chat, and we will talk through them before we get into 5 for 5 and close us down for the audio only listeners.
Some of these we can answer pretty quickly. Am I crazy for wanting to take Travis Hunter at the 101 in a league where we start 2 IDPs? Check whatever platforms you're on settings and whether he's IDP eligible or will be, because currently he's coded only as a wide receiver. But if he is, he should absolutely 100 million% be the 101 in IDP leagues. I'm on the record saying he should be in a tier with, if we knew for sure that he was playing offense full time, we just eliminated the possibility of corner. I'm on the record. You should be in a 2-man tier in consideration for 101 with Jeanty. So if you then basically take away all the risk, where the worst case scenario is he's going to be full-time offense or full-time defense, the likely scenario is he's going to be a mix of both. He will be the most valuable player in the history of IDP fantasy football. Yeah, you should definitely take it to 101.
I mean, I took it to 103 in a non-IDP today.
Yeah, I took him to 102 yesterday and one. I mean, I'll admit, I haven't ranked the 102. I have a high risk tolerance. I think if you want to take Marion Hampton, if you want to take Cam Ward, there's nothing wrong with that. I have them in a 4-person tier with McMillan in that tier too. I wouldn't argue against anything back to 105. I think after those 3 names, I think you got to take him at least the 105. I think he's materially higher upside than the rest of these bets, at least before we get draft capital. Tyler, just in the chat, said he rewound to see the reactions the Leafs scored. I hope it was everything you dreamed of. For the audio listeners, when I ran out, that was to change into my Toronto Maple Leafs jersey, which I'm currently rocking for the rest of the show. Do you see any other questions? Apparently Tyler Shough is pronounced Tyler Shough. All right, I'm going to make a lot of oyster references. Ron Stewart wants us to know that Alan Lazard was balling before injury. So Ryan, consider that in your Herald Fannin analysis. And there we go. Oh, selling Jordan Mason and Tank Bigsby. What's a fair trade offer? Hoping for a couple dart throws instead of those guys. Yeah, I think I would
anything
take
you can get.
If you could get, basically, I mean, I think that I'll pivot this into something I think it's more actionable. This will probably change immediately post-draft. But I think right now there's 2 pockets of the draft that are emerging that are really friendly. One is the very early second. So to me, once you get through that group of Ward, Hunter, Hampton, and McMillan, and you start into the 106, I think that it's reasonably flat. And I have it as 2 different tiers, but I think it's reasonably flat from that 106 spot all the way to the early second, where you're looking at guys like Dart, Sanders, Judkins, Byrne, and Golden. I think that's a great spot to be picking to get the last of those names. Then I think it's really, really flat again for like 12 picks until the early third, where you're looking at guys from, Trey Harris, the 2 Iowa State wide receivers, A. Manor, Jack Bech, Dylan Sampson, Scatabo, Giddens, Tuten, Harvey, Fannin, Mason Taylor, Jalen Milroe is in that group. Like, I think that's a really, really flat group. So this will change when we get landing spots. But like right now, I wouldn't want to be picking in the mid-second where you have to start that tier and just pick your favorite. I don't care about the right to pick my favorite. I really want to be in that early third range where you're getting people that are whoever's the last of that tier. Like, I think you're just going to wind up getting someone. I know when I was trying to do my rankings, no matter how I ordered it, I wound up looking at somebody ranked like 25th or 26th. So I was like, that's so low. Like, I don't feel that way about them. But like when you're just setting it out linearly, you have to rank 12 names in a row, even if you feel basically the same about all of their valuations.
I have nothing to add. That was
fully co-sign that. Yeah, that's about how I see it right now too.
Fully brilliant. We have Sean, who offered his hot take and saying Carr is actually fine. He said the Saints are using him as bait to scare people to move up, one-upping Sean Payton's wizardry. He'll tell you about last year. And Simon says, look, when we're done with landing spots, I want to hear some trade predictions. Are we going to see the likes of Tyreek, Travis Etienne, Kirk Cousins, Michael Mayer, etc. go anywhere? So I think I love that question a lot. Let's go. Final question for this as the bonus. Name one veteran you think is an absolute lock to get moved this coming draft weekend. I think that's
Dallas Goedert.
Dallas Goedert is a good one.
Not a lock. No one's a lock, but he would be my most likely pick.
I've seen a lot of him to the Giants, which would be sad for all of my late round tight end bags, but I mean, any spot where he's going to get used, I love it. He'll get used there. Theo Johnson, so sorry. I like that spot. I like that one. That was great. You said that quick too. You had that just on hand.
Yeah, it's just one where there's a lot of spots where people are kind of speculating, like they could take calls on. Oh, they've been fielding calls on. Teams are targeting, but that's one where I've just seen it flat out reported. The Eagles are trying to trade Dallas Goedert. And he's also good enough where I just feel like if the Eagles are committed to trading him, they're going to be successful. Like I don't imagine it'll be that hard to move Dallas Goedert. He's a good player. I think that the Jaguars can be trying to move Travis Etienne all that they like, but he costs $11 million on the cap next year, and it's an incredible running back class. I think that they're going to be unsuccessful in that endeavor. Yeah. It's a good marriage of the two, I think, for Goedert.
I want the Jaguars to draft Jeanty, so I never have to hear about Tank Bigsby being next man up breakout candidate because he played for 2 games and had a few touchdowns and a few breakaway runs and did nothing aside from it. I'm over him. Shout out to him for proving he's not the actual worst player in the league, like a lot of us thought for a while, but also could just do without him forever. So please draft Jeanty there in Jacksonville. Please. I need it. Ryan, who you have? A veteran you think is a lock to get traded, or as close to a lock as you can get?
Yeah. So I don't think this guy's anywhere near a lock. If I had to give maybe a second most likely behind Dallas Goedert, I would say Mark Andrews, kind of for similar reasons that the Ravens do not sound committed to him whatsoever, to him even being on the roster this year. So that's one thing to keep in mind. But for a one that I haven't seen people talking about, which is interesting to me because the fantasy implications are pretty big, is Rachaad White. So Adam Schefter listed Rachaad White in his list of possible. Adam Schefter did this segment in his article on Monday. Basically, these are all the veterans that I'm hearing could be traded or that people think could be available for trade. Rachaad White was included in that. I would think in this scenario that it is accompanied by the Buccaneers adding another piece to their backfield. Kind of like the whole thesis on me being kind of okay with the Bucky Irving offseason value that we've seen is the Buccaneers seem to like their running back room. They really love Sean Tucker for whatever reason. I don't think they're actually going to add to it. They have 3 guys they like. We could see White get moved and we could see them add a late day 2, day 3 guy. I honestly think that makes Bucky Irving's, depending on who it is, I guess, and what we think of the prospect, but probably on average, I think that makes Bucky Irving's outlook a little bit better. It very likely opens up some more passing game work for him. Do you think so?
I just think it's such a nice player to be paired with. I just feel I don't think that they're going to move Rachaad White in this draft class and then not add a running back on day 3 of the draft. And I would just so much rather bet against Rachaad White than any running back in this draft class.
So I would bet against Rachaad White to like take over the backfield or whatever, be like a serious threat to him. But I would bet on Rachaad White to take up like 40% of the backfield routes. He took up like 60% of them last year. I think Bucky only out-routed him like twice all season. Like I don't know.
Possible.
Like I just see it's like a potential path for Bucky to carve out like a little bit more of the backfield. Like I get that it's risky, obviously, but
it's not just
something interesting to think about.
Part of it to me is just like Bucky is really small. I don't think that he's ever going to sustain a full season as like an 80 to 90% opportunity share guy. So I just feel like he's always sharing with someone. And Rachaad White is just like such a comfortable player to share with because you just know what he is and what he isn't. And to me, like you remove that, it's like removing a piece out of a Jenga board. And now it's like, now do I have to deal with Sean Tucker? Because I think Sean Tucker can actually play. Whereas I prefer him being blocked from playing. Like I feel like you start letting Sean Tucker get 10 touches a game, and all of a sudden you go, like why don't we start using Sean Tucker at the goal line? Or like why don't we start using him more and make it a 50-50 split? I like the devil that I know in Rachaad White as a Bucky Irving person. Like to me, the bet on Bucky Irving was always, I think he's good, and I think Rachaad White sucks ass. And I like betting against Rachaad White. I like the idea of continuing to bet against Rachaad White. All
right, so I guess Bucky's going on the block the second the Rachaad White trade gets announced, is what I'm hearing. Yeah,
exactly.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Lucas, what do you got?
I do think he could be on the move. I don't know who's trading for him, but
just to
I guess
say,
he probably wouldn't demand all that much compensation.
1 year left on his rookie deal. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
If I read it right, just more on the Mark Andrews thing, I believe they saved $7 million letting him go. I'm sorry if it's like too obvious a connection, but the Chargers send over a 4th round pick and the Ravens send him back over a 6th round pick.
Oh yeah.
To move Mark Andrews.
Yeah. Let's go.
Is that not
Let's
the
go,
trade?
baby?
Ravens love their 4th round pick so they can either take a punter or some cornerback that'll never see the field, which is very much like them in the 4th round. They could do away with the Mark Andrews contract, take on some of that dead cat. I mean, there can't be
I
a
love that call.
better spot.
I love that call, and especially, I mean, I don't think the Chargers are going to get a chance to draft Warren or Loveland. So, are they going to take a Mason Taylor round 2 and Elijah Arroyo, something like that? Or are they just going to flip a 4th round pick for Mark Andrews? And I mean, oh my God, would that ever be fun for fantasy? Mark Andrews' top 5 tight end season is back if we get that.
That's what I'm saying. So it boosts likely, and then it boosts Andrews at the same time. I think it's a win-win. It just Harbaugh to Harbaugh. Greg Roman is there. I just think it makes sense. I think it makes too much sense for it not to happen. Lucas, what do you got for a veteran?
So I know that they said in the question too, Kirk Cousins just makes no sense right now to be on that roster. At this point, I think that after the draft, there's going to be a team that's going to talk themselves into taking on his massive contract. And I don't think that the Falcons, as much as people like to say, oh, it's awesome to have like a backup quarterback who can come in and start, like, what a luxury to have in the NFL at this point in time. I don't think that they'll be able to talk themselves into that really whenever they start writing checks for him to, not do anything really at this point. Another name just to throw out because that one's a little easier. I think DeAndre Swift's still kind of a more obvious one, but I think he might be even closer to a cut candidate at this point. But he's going to go for basically next to nothing if Ben Johnson really wants to get rid of him again.
That would be.
We'll see. I just don't think that he's long for Chicago at this point.
So like DeAndre Swift gets cut, who signs with the team first, him or J.K. Dobbins?
So I think with Dobbins, and it's I did like one of the dumbest things I've ever done in my life, which was like we have a game on ADP chasing. We have to pick someone outside the top 200 picks for a week 16 or week 17 best ball lineup. And I picked Amari Cooper today. And my Amari Cooper cope is the same as the J.K. Dobbins cope, which is once you get past like the first 2 weeks of free agency, teams are just going to sign you after the draft to protect their compensatory picks. So I don't think it's like gotten worse for J.K. Dobbins the last month. It was bad that he didn't sign the first week, But like once you don't sign the first week or two, then you're not going to sign until after the draft anyway. So, I don't know. Maybe J.K. Dobbins signs first. But
Yeah,
I'm
actually with you. I think Dobbins does as well.
I mean, probably Swift just because injury. Like J.K. Dobbins was dope, but he got hurt again. I think that might cost him a little more in the end than someone like Swift, who might be ass. And I called a Dynasty 0 last year, and now he's just like kind of not elite, but teams value just good enough running backs over potentially hurt ones. I don't know.
One thing you can say about DeAndre Swift throughout his career is that he's always been weirdly valued by teams who don't roster him. Once teams do employ him, they immediately look to unemploy him. But from the outside looking in, teams have appreciated him. You know, he was drafted very highly by one Lions regime. The next Lions regime comes in, they make him a workhorse. Then they're like, we didn't like how that was. And they're like, we got to move this guy. The Eagles are like, bring him in here. They load him up with touches. They're like, oh my God, we're going to go in a different direction. The Bears are like, here's a bunch of guaranteed money. And now they're like, can we please trade any vital organs to replace him with Ashton Jeanty? We'll give you anything to move up to the top 5.
And what's funny is it's just
whatever team next wants to take a shot on DeAndre Swift. The grass always looks greener from the outside.
DeAndre Swift comes in and they're like, he's like, oh man, a team really believes in me. This regime believes in me. I was the guy last year and I was healthy. I'm ready to build. You just see Ben Johnson walk through the door. Fuck. Like he's just immediately mad. Like worst case scenario.
He got Tommied for sure. He was going in to be a made man, and here it comes.
100%.
I bet even Ryan knows that reference.
I do know that reference. Thank you.
Yeah.
I love it. For myself, I think it's Jameson Williams. There's been quite a bit of talk about it. I don't think the Lions want to pay him top tier wide receiver money. I just really don't. I think that he could fetch a pretty good return right now on the market. Kind of broke out last year, first healthy season. He's going to want the bag. And I just don't see it in Detroit to pay him the bag. Jameson Williams, I think, is more likely to get traded than Tyreek Hill is going into the draft. I think Detroit drafts so well they could find a field stretching, playmaking wide receiver. I think Jameson Williams gets moved. So I'm right there with you. John Paul Taylor, you mentioned Jameson Williams' possible trade as being legit. I do. I can just see that being something the Lions do. I mean, their offense, pretty good without it. A couple receivers you could use in that role in this draft class. So I don't mind it at all. I was also going to say Tyreek Hill, but like very few teams are going to take that on. There's just so
I think
few.
he might get traded eventually. I don't think it'll be during the draft. I think there's like too much that's up in the air with him right now legally. There's like videos that are surfacing today of concerning things.
Oh, I haven't seen these. Yikes.
He feels like he feels like a person that gets traded either late in the summer or maybe like in season. Maybe they don't get any interesting offers. They figure, let's run this out into the season, and then it's like week 5, they're 1-4, and he like walks off the field in the middle of the third quarter, takes his shirt off, and then he gets traded or something like that.
Yeah. I agree.
I just read the headline of the video. Oh my God, what? Sorry,
yeah, I haven't. I'll get into that later. Jamo to the Steelers would be interesting, and then add Cousins. That's a very good Madden team. I just, Jamo, DK, Pickens on one team would just be. I mean, we talked about psychiatrists in Pittsburgh for just DK and Pickens. I don't know if Jamo is their type of player. I think that's good. I think we hit it. We got one veteran, a couple veterans we think are going to get traded. We extended it a little bit for the audio-only listeners that don't get 5 for 5, which is a YouTube exclusive event, as it should be. It's the best game in fantasy football, and that's coming up next. Thanks for tuning in, the audio portion of the podcast. If you're over on YouTube, well, sit tight. We're going to be right back with the best game in fantasy football. You're not going to want to miss it. Okay, this is 5 for 5. Let me set the stage. I won again as your defending champion. That's 3 wins in the Big 2-5. Ryan Heath wanted everyone to let you know that he is not locked in his rum. He has 1 win. Lucas Gilbert, man of the people last week, 2025. He also has 1 win. The chat, much to Lucas's protest, does not.
That's right, activist Lucas Gilbert.
Have a win, betraying us here on the show. Jacob, break the rules down. Let's get into it.
All right. Here's the rules of 5 for 5. I'm going to discuss 5 players. There's going to be up to 5 clues for each player. You get 5 points. If you guess on the first clue, you get 1 fewer point. For each additional clue that you need. The last question is worth double points. The chat gets to play if you're in the chat and you're playing along. I'm going to make this extra clear. Apparently, there is a delay between when I see the comments and when you type the comments. I don't have a time machine. Okay? I'm not Michael J. Fox. I don't hop into a DeLorean to go over to your house to determine when you typed it. I go by when I see it. I give these guys plenty of time to guess each category. If you're typing it at the very end, then either you're a cheating loser who's using Google or you didn't get it in time, so screw you. I don't care about your points. Okay, is that clear enough? The rules are, I go by when I see your comment. If they get it the same time that you get it, the tiebreak goes to people playing because there are several of you in the chat. You want to win? Text 5 friends to come into the chat, watch our show, and answer the questions faster. Don't rely on Lucas, the Benedict Arnold of this program, who's trying to desert player interests for chat interests. All right? All right, there we go.
Keep in mind, we as the hosts are required to minimize the chat. Only Jacob
host cannot look
is allowed to see the chat.
The host can't look at chat. The chat can't look at Google. Those are the 2 key rules.
Yes. So let's do it.
All right. Oh, I realized that I don't actually have my 5 for 5 document up, but I'm going to have it in 1 second.
Yep.
So,
that's okay. Can I do while we're
cut that out for the audio version? Here we go. I got it.
I just want to ask before we get going. Do you want to hear the difference, people watching on YouTube, in the generations of Leafs fans that you have on this show? When I saw the number 16, I immediately thought Darcy Tucker.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that'd be a good call.
What
jersey, but Tucker would make sense.
Okay. See, I saw 16. I'm thinking Battle of Ontario. I immediately went to Darcy Tucker. 2 different eras.
That would be sick if I had a Darcy Tucker jersey. Yeah.
All right, let's do this.
That would be cool if I did. All right. Since it's the NFL draft this week, and since we'll be on in varying parts for parts of the portions of the draft, this week's 5 players are all players who were part of big round 1 surprises. Generally, these are players who either went way higher than anyone thought they would go or way lower than anyone thought that they would go. All right, let's do this thing.
But they all went in round 1, to be clear. Right?
They were all round 1 picks.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct. All right. This player, I suspect, based on how narrow this category is, that we're going to get some early guesses. So this could be a quick round of 5 for 5. All right. This player was the 22nd overall pick in the 2007 NFL draft. And I can say that the chat got it before I read out a clue.
What?
How? The chat has guessed one thing, and it said going to randomly throw out, and it's correct. So I will, if you can't guess it from 22nd overall pick in 2007, then Jason Lieberman of the chat is getting the point.
Let
Have
me
it,
think
buddy.
about the 2000 NFL draft
All I had said was
late.
NFL draft picks, and he immediately guessed that. So no more preemptive guesses, chat.
Okay, I'm out and I'm gonna look at the chat because I want to see what it is because now I'm really
Yeah,
curious.
one thing I know,
2007.
that's for sure.
Late in the
All right.
first. I'm
Going to randomly throw out
All right,
random.
5, 4,
2007. Is that the Josh
2,
Whedon draft?
1.
The Browns?
No, that
I think
is
you're thinking
not.
of a different first name, but that's also wrong.
Or Josh Whedon?
Oh my
Brandon Whedon.
gosh.
All right, Lucas, you got
Yeah.
anything? 3, 2.
No, I don't.
1.
It's killing
All
me.
right, shout out to Jason Lieberman. Brady Quinn was the answer to that one.
Wrong Browns quarterback.
Oh, I thought it was a second round pick. That's why I didn't
No,
say
Brady
him. I
Quinn.
was no.
Big notable draft ball was sitting in the green room. Kept panning back to him, looking depressed.
I thought wrong Browns quarterback, wrong Browns draft.
All right.
Oh, I'm so
That's
mad.
5 points for the chat.
Oh,
Okay. This player was a national champion at Florida State University.
Tim Tebow.
That's incorrect. And the wrong school. That would be the
Did you say
University
Florida
of
or Miami?
he said
Florida.
Florida
but
State.
We're looking for Florida State.
Oh. Well, sorry. I was rushing. I had to try to beat the chat, apparently. Free guessing.
You don't have to beat the chat. All right.
Ooh. I'm gonna
Although
guess
the chat are
Kelvin
just firing
Benjamin.
out numbers. I'm gonna put a limit on 3 guesses from the chat per question because they're just firing names to avoid that we're so if they get it after 3, then it doesn't count for that round.
I'm guessing Kelvin Benjamin.
That is incorrect.
Good guess.
I am gonna pass.
Oh, Lucas, you got it, or Ryan, I meant. All right, you're passing. Okay, chat, your 3 are restored. Okay, this player was the 17th overall pick in the 1999 NFL draft.
From
Year
Florida.
I was
State.
born.
Oh, what is his name? Oh
The,
no.
the year Tyler Shough was born.
Is it in the 99 draft?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Oh.
Warren Sapp?
incorrect.
Is it Charlie Ward?
Incorrect.
I'm not ever getting this.
All right. Okay, nothing from the chat yet. Despite being picked in the first round, this player never amassed a single yard from scrimmage in the NFL.
The 1999 draft.
How much was his signing bonus? Never amassed a single yard in the NFL. The first round, pre-rookie wage scale.
At 17? So they were.
All right, 5, 4, 3, 2,
Wait,
1. Despite never amassing a yard from scrimmage, this player played 20 NFL seasons.
Oh no! Is it Sebastian Janikowski?
That's correct for 2 points.
Yes! Oh my gosh! Oh, so
Wait.
clever. So
You
clever.
in the first round? That's
Yes,
Yes.
he did.
Yeah, that's
my
that's
gosh.
why it was so shocking.
Oh.
the Zoomers literally don't remember Sebastian
Did you
Janikowski
say-
going in the first round.
Oh, he was in a Bleacher
Oh.
Report article I read last week, and that's the only reason this is on my mind. Oh, that's a good one.
someone said Tyrone Tracy. That's funny. I just checked after the thing. That's so good. Oh,
Props
damn.
to
Good
you on
one.
that one, Jacob.
Janikowski.
Oh,
Oh, someone's saying I have the wrong year by 1, but I'm going to say that if you cared that much about the specific year, then you were looking it up, because if your concern is that I said 99 instead of 2000 and that precluded you, then I feel like you were Googling, because I just
Wait,
feel like
who-
that can't possibly.
Who went number 17 in the other year? And if anyone in chat said them, they're banned from playing forever.
That's actually a good point.
That's a good test. Yeah, you guys better delete those comments real quick before Jacob
Oh
figures this
yeah,
out.
Damian Woody, and someone said Big Wood. And he said he happened to see an NFL draft post about the 2000 draft today. That seems awfully convenient.
Hold on. I heard Bucks. You meant Raiders. So that's my bad.
So Helen
That's why I said
Maxwell, you are you may have outed yourself. You thought you were outing me, but
Can the chat clarify if he said Bucks or Raiders? I swear I heard Bucks.
He didn't say any NFL team.
He did not say a team.
So
No,
in my
Jacob,
head,
we
I said
need
Bucks.
one. We need one
The
like
last clue would have
honeypot
been the
bait
Raiders.
question every single week. You need to do a honeypot question to catch all the people that are
That
looking
was my
shit up in
Mr.
the
Big
chat.
Sting operation. He said he's gonna send me the post. All right, I will. I promise you. You send me the post. I'll
All
read it.
right, let's go.
Um,
Lucas, that's a hell of a pull.
All right.
That was a
I do
great
apologize for
question.
saying the wrong year, but I don't feel like that should have really. I feel like people shouldn't know that specific about NFL drafts 26 years ago. Anyway, if I'd said 1999 instead of 2009, then I'd feel a little bad. But all right, here we go.
The game's not a perfect science.
This player was also the 22nd pick in the NFL draft, but in 2012. And I'm going to double check that that's correct.
The 20
Yes, that is correct.
the 2012 draft was a
2012,
nightmare
22.
draft.
That was the
Was
terrible
it
one, right?
Johnny
Yeah.
Manziel?
No,
Incorrect.
no,
Okay.
no.
Oh, I know who it is now.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
It's Brandon Whedon. That's the
Yes,
Whedon
it is
draft.
for 5 points.
Yeah.
That is the Whedon draft. There's your 5.
I knew.
All
it
right,
was
5
coming
for
because
Tom,
You said him
5 for the
earlier.
chat. 2 for Lucas. And yeah, we did,
Oh.
he was
Dang it,
brought
that's
up
2 for
earlier
me.
by mistake. Yeah.
Oh, I knew.
All right.
I knew I was gonna get it. I got the wrong year. All right, let's go.
All right. This player played his first college season at Butte College.
Butte College.
Where is Butte College?
Sounds
Oh,
like
I
something.
don't
Sounds
think
like something off of like The Office. It does.
The chat's got this.
Good for them.
Is it? Oh no, because you said it's a surprise. So this is what has me stumped. Oh, I mean, I'm going to guess
I will
because
say
like,
this is like a weird fact, but it's a one that if you know it, you would know it.
Is-
There's one
is
notable NFL player who ever played at Butte College.
is it Dalton Kincaid?
but they
Not
transferred.
correct.
They transferred.
Correct. They were not
Aaron
drafted
Rodgers.
out of Butte
Assumedly.
College. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Aaron Rodgers.
Correct. There
Yeah.
you go.
I was thinking, like, did he say he finished it? Like, there's no first round. I thought
No,
maybe.
I said first college season at Butte College.
Okay, yeah, that's Aaron Rodgers. That's a known draft tidbit.
All
How much
right.
of a pain in the
10 for
ass
Tom.
do you think Aaron Rodgers was at Butte College?
Just a massive one. It
Just
just must have been the
Talk
worst.
about like big fish, small pond.
What was the name?
Like,
Ryan,
oh my god,
what was the name of the college that the offensive lineman was drafted out of from New England that like everyone laughed at? Because that's
You
why.
mean Chattanooga?
Oh, is that Chattanooga? Okay,
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
that's what you meant.
strange
Initially.
out of Chattanooga. I didn't know if there was going to be another like deep dark memory hold one.
No, but that's
that like that resurfaced some trauma for me. But yes,
that's what I was thinking initially.
Where did
I just
Tyquan
couldn't
Thornton go to
remember.
school?
yeah.
Taylor.
Yes.
All right, let's go.
Oh,
baby.
I knew. I just felt
Yeah.
like bringing that name up.
Let's go.
Hey, Ryan,
baby.
where do you think Mohamed Sanu went to school?
yeah.
Rutgers.
Okay. I think we're Aaron Dobson. I actually don't remember where Aaron Dobson went to school.
I don't know.
Okay.
where it was.
Let's go. I'm
We're
rolling.
officially playing Remember That Guy.
Yeah.
Aaron Dobson went to Marshall.
Sick.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
That is,
Let's go.
and shout out Hal and Maxwell. Got that immediately. All right. 10 points for Tom, 5 for the chat, 2 for Lucas, none for Gretchen Wieners. Final clue. All right. This player was selected 23rd overall in the 2003 NFL draft.
No. Oh no. 2003. Oh, where did Baltimore draft that year? Can I guess?
Of course.
Kyle Bowler.
Not correct. Lucas, Ryan, anything? Nothing from the chat
Absolutely.
No, because I can get on the next one and then tie Thomas.
here. All right.
We're goose egging this one, baby.
Yeah. Which also then means that Thomas can't guess until Ryan and I do.
That's true. You get a free guess over Tom. All right, Lucas for the tie here. Otherwise, it's down to Tom in the chat. This player's selection in round 1 was surprising because he was not projected to and ultimately did not play at all in his first NFL season. The chat has got this. So this can only now be won by Lucas. Well, Tom would get the chance if Lucas misses. So if Lucas gets this right, he gets it. If not, Tom has a chance to guess. And if he's wrong, then the chat wins.
All right. So he went 22nd overall, 2003. 23rd
Yeah.
overall, 2003.
Yeah.
Didn't play his first season. Willis McGahee.
Fuck.
Lucas, you're the 5 for 5 champion.
No, I'm tied because that's 8
Oh, you're
points.
tied.
I had 2.
That's game point. So we're gonna have to do a tiebreaker here.
You have a tiebreaker?
Wait, how many
I
points
think
did
we're gonna
Lucas
have to do
just
a
get? I
tiebreaker.
had
I
10.
got 8. I got 8 and I had 2.
Yeah,
So I'm
2
trying. I'm
plus
being
8.
very
Okay.
fair,
5 and
transparent
5,
there.
2 and 8. All right. Okay. Good job, Lucas. Okay. Give me
Duh!
a second here.
Yeah, the not playing the first
Come
year,
on.
that was the really big help. I needed that one.
That's as. What year was Kyle Bowler drafted? Someone check that for me. Chat, can I get a
Okay.
check?
Here's what we're gonna do for the tiebreaker. Okay.
Oh, first ever, by the way.
Ooh.
Okay. You guys have 10 seconds
Oh no.
to send. You can send me a Twitter DM with your guess at how many total rushing yards Willis McGahee had in his NFL career. Whoever's closest, and it's not close without going over, it's just purely closest, will win.
All right, where's my Twitter? All right. Purely closest, doesn't matter if we go over.
Yeah. To his total NFL rushing yards in his career.
Oh, there you are.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go with my first instinct guess. Sent away.
Sent.
All right. Lucas Gilbert says 10,300. Thomas Tipple says 8,721. The correct answer is incredibly close to Tom's guess. 8,474. Tom wins the
Congrats.
tiebreaker. He
Congrats.
stole it.
Let's go!
Yeah.
Oh,
Just like the Leafs, he's
former
emerged
Ravens
victorious in
legend.
overtime.
Former Ravens legend Willis McGahee. Oh, I was close, and it was my first guess. 8,721. I went with it. Almost changed it to 6,721. But, bro, shout out, man! What a game! This is the best game. This is the best game in fantasy football. Did anybody get the year that Bowler was drafted? Alan said 2003. Okay, so right year, wrong pick. All right. Shout out Kyle Bowler. Shout out the chat. Shout out to Lucas. Shout out to Jacob for the game. Just an absolute phenomenal day. I love it. I love this game. I love
this is why I deserve
love
for
this
forgetting
podcast.
Brady Quinn.
Dude, that one got me too. Mural said fitting tiebreaker between Baltimore and Denver fans. I mean, I know.
For McGahee. That's what makes it so funny too. But
I just What did he do in Baltimore? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know
He had a
right here,
1,000-yard
right now.
season in each of Baltimore, Denver, and Buffalo.
Yeah, 1,200.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely love it. Shout out Willis McGahee. We love you. We love the chat. Look, I can't wait for the draft. I know these guys can't wait for the draft. We're done talking about it, right? We're done prognosticating, debating, trying to do ranks. Just everything gets settled this weekend, and we can't wait. Night 1 and night 2 will be Theo Greminger, Brett Whitefield, and myself. From what I understand, we will also have guests, including for the first time in probably 20 years, the Guru himself will be making multiple appearances on the live draft show. Who else is coming? I'm not 100% sure. Jacob's working the circus. We have no idea what's going on.
No, I'm gonna be there for at least about half an hour.
Okay.
I'll also be on a different show that I won't. I've made a deal, which is every time I'm on a Fantasy Points thing, I'm not going to mention the other draft show I'm on, and when I'm on their show, I'm not going to mention the Fantasy Points show. Probably check out both shows; they're going to be awesome. But I will be on this one. I think potentially around when the Colts pick. I'm going to be on about an hour into the program, and I'll be on for about half hour, 45 minutes. And then I think I'll be on briefly on Friday too, and then of course we'll all be here on Saturday.
That's right. I was going to mention day 3 Saturday. That is when we make good on the weekly bets that we make. And Jacob hopefully lets us know what we're drinking ahead of time so I can pick it up, because God only knows what it's going to be. And hopefully Ryan didn't gamble his way out of it with the Luther Burden drafted in round 1 or not, double or nothing bet.
Matt Miller today put his range at pick 20 to pick 35. So I'm feeling okay. It's Matt Miller. Am I actually feeling okay? Not at all. But
he's going to pretend to be.
I did see
think
that
tweet
today.
is Matt Miller likes Luther Burden. It's kind of how I take that tweet.
Yes, that is. Yeah.
See, if it's Luther Burden, that's basically the only pick aside from Matthew Golden that will make me upset as a Denver fan. If one of those two happen, I will be a sad boy.
I think it's going to be interesting. I haven't finalized the menu yet. I'm going to have to do that. That's going to be on my to-do list just to make sure that they get the required beverages. But we'll figure something out, and we'll be ready to rock on Saturday. It's going to be fun. If I assume a bunch of people are going to be having Dynasty rookie draft starting Sunday, maybe even Saturday. Whatever your questions are, we're going to be covering day 3, but we've done this now a couple times. Day 3, I'll be honest, it's a slog at times. You're mixing in fantasy valuable players with like a lot of D linemen you've never heard of in your life.
Hunters.
But you're going to be figuring out what your plan is going to be for rookie draft. So come hang out with us. All your questions are going to get answered as they appear in the chat. We're just basically we're going to be doing like a 6-hour AMA stream breaking down the 1 in 20 picks. That's a day 3 running back. That's going to be interesting. And then probably Googling some like wide receivers that get drafted in round 7 to try and play. Will this guy play offense, or are they only drafted to return punts, which is like a classic day 3 game.
We can also say Theo Greminger is also very much down to join us as well. There could be a rookie mock draft happening live.
Oh, for sure.
During day 3. Lots of fun stuff happening. Just want to say, the off season can be a slog. It can be a lot. There's a lot of thumbnail-y, hot takey stuff that we try to stay away from. And we try to give you as much actionable information, even if it is unorganized and off the wall and off track as it often is. You guys have been not only tuning in every week, but the crowd of Dynasty Points faithful is growing at a tremendous rate. So I want to say shout out to you guys. This is the first step of the off season. Step 2 is a much longer, grueling process, believe it or not. But this weekend settles a lot of things, and we can't wait. So thank you for listening with us. Thank you for hanging out with us. Enjoy the draft. If you're like me and you know you're going to have a meltdown, let the people you're watching it with know ahead of time. Because I tell you, if the Ravens draft another pass rusher that doesn't rush the passer in college, I'm going to lose my shit. And I will tell everybody first, live when it actually happens. So keep that in mind. That being said, again, thanks for tuning in with us. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for participating in 5 for 5. Remember that clear eyes and full hearts can never lose, and that your best days, oh my God, they are always spent tilting. Good night, everybody. And again, enjoy the draft.
What?
Why are you shaking your head? You're welcome.